Welcome to Different Walks, Different Talks.
All right, so now we're gonna get into more serious talks after all that background stuff. Preparing for university. All right. So, do you guys want to go in a circle? I have a question, right? You guys can each give it a response.
Give
Do you want to go?
whoever has the
All right,
fastest
perfect.
answer, yeah.
What are your biggest hopes or fears about going into university?
Me, definitely because I didn't do much research when applying for my university program. It was one that actually mattered, and I applied to mech engineering in Waterloo, and I didn't do much research. Oh, I should have applied to like software or
No, but
mechatronics
like,
engineering.
what's your hopes and fears when you get in that?
Well,
program?
hopes obviously. Mechanical engineering. There's a lot of opportunities. Like, if I learn about all the fluid dynamic stuff and I get really expert in that, I can do aerospace engineering, which is
Aerospace,
something,
right? You can
which
go
is
into a lot
something
of
I
things.
actually want to do. Like, I'm actually very interested in aerospace.
Oh, cool.
But
So many guys are.
if I do like tech and stuff like mechatronics and software, like I'm also very interested in that. So that's why, like, that's one of the reasons why I applied to mech, because I wanted to go into aerospace.
Aerospace, okay.
And but then I was regretting it because I was thinking like tech has better pay and like there's
Yeah.
more innovation and stuff.
Yeah.
What about you,
Okay,
two?
I can start with like the fears. So like one fear is obviously like money. Because like
Yeah.
university,
73K.
I was even thinking about that. That's a big
yeah,
one.
I was just at the tour at University of Waterloo. That's probably the one I'm gonna commit to. And the pricing itself, if it's like on its own, it's not that bad. Like 20K just for schooling
Yeah.
and all that. But then you have to of course live there.
Yeah.
Like for
You
us.
add the meal plan, you add the like.
Yeah,
so
the meal
expensive.
plan is like mandatory for some
Yeah,
residents.
yeah.
If you're in and I don't know how to cook, so
You're cooked. You're cooked.
You can say residents about knowing how to cook.
No, residents. If you're in residence,
First year,
you have a meal plan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
first
But if
year
you're in a
residents-
suite, you can opt to go into a suite,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
like pretty much an apartment, and you have a kitchen.
a lot of people don't cook first year in residence because they have the meal
you
plan.
normally live with your
So you can
friends.
just-
Well, but like with the Waterloo communal
you gotta
washrooms,
cook.
though, I'm scared of that.
Huh?
The Waterloo communal washrooms, I'm scared of
Oh yeah.
No, it's good. They clean.
No,
Like
no,
most
so,
communal
okay,
washrooms
let
are
me
cleaned
talk
like
about-
twice a day.
Let me talk about
If
this.
it's communal.
So in Waterloo, they have 8 different residences or places you can stay. So the one that most like people within our program, like engineering, they stay at this building called CMH, which
Titanish was talking about this one.
yeah, CMH. So actually, it's like the newest building, and it has like the most like clean washrooms, the best like rooms,
Facilities.
yeah, and best cafe. But one thing about it is that, of course, very antisocial compared to the rest of
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the engineers
So-
are pretty
Well,
antisocial.
You can think about it differently. Like if it's all engineers, it's more of a clique.
Yeah,
Right?
the thing is, like, not all engineers or people that are in
Yeah.
that are gonna be
Social.
as social as like for us, for example.
Yeah.
I feel like that's not going to be as bad as a math faculty. I feel like the math faculty
The
is
physics
worse.
faculty, bro. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Bro, I remember when Mr. Goldman was talking about
Yeah,
like,
the
how
antisocial.
all the people like they think they're so much better than other people, all the physicists.
When you study physics
Yeah.
theory,
And when you're
So that's your
physicists,
biggest-
you see other people, you think they're
I'll
dumb,
keep
bro.
going with the fear. So one fear, obviously, price. You know, I was talking to my parents about like, oh, whether should we take the meal plan, which residence, all that. Okay, another one is the idea of like co-op in itself.
Right.
Like, you know, the fact that within like less than a year from now, I'm gonna be applying for like a job.
It's scary.
It's scary, and the fact that that place I'm applying in is with all these sweats, all these people that have been crafted.
Yeah, they've been
Probably
smurfing the
been
game.
doing like
building the resume.
Yeah, yeah.
doing coding since like they were
They've been
five.
project building, grinding that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
And
Back engineering, I'm scared of that because
I know a little bit about like robotics and all that stuff. Like I did a bit of like robotics.
But those guys are like
But those
different.
guys,
They're a different
they
level.
know a lot about these topics that I'm not that familiar with. Like I feel like I can learn these things very fast.
They just had the
but they
time
have
before.
prior knowledge.
Yeah.
And also, when it comes to
That's-
hardware,
I agree with you.
I have a little bit of experience in high school. You know, I was in Mr. Roberts' class, but like
Compared to their
compared to them, some of those people that are going to be there. Like if I was in like a school like McMaster, which of course is still very good, but like the co-op there isn't as competitive.
Yeah.
So the people there aren't as like job driven and goal driven. Like,
Yeah.
oh, this is the job I want. I'm exactly
like Waterloo is, like,
the skills
very,
prepared for it. So yeah, co-op is another big thing.
Yeah, it's a
I'm
big
afraid
fear.
of. Like the interviews too. Like
The process.
the process of getting selected.
Bro, the fact that we just did applications now,
And in 1 year from now, you have to do more new applications for something. It's for a completely different
Right,
thing, right?
yeah, exactly.
Like
you're branching.
From stressing about applications for this, now you have to stress about applications for another.
And you're going to be studying your midterm at the same time.
In front of a person in front of you.
That's
We had like
That's what you have to kill. You have to kill that interview because that's because at the end of the day, a lot of people are qualified, but then there's the social factor where if you
I feel like that's where I'll shine a bit more.
Like that's probably one of the defining factors in Waterloo because like all those like companies coming in, they know every kid is qualified here. Every kid has all those abilities.
Yeah, it's just like
but like
stands
no
out
matter
a bit
how
more.
you present.
You gotta like if I was like a company like hire. Like I would see like people they're both good at the jobs, but like one person is like really good, but like they're a little they're antisocial. And there's another person who's charismatic. I would pick the charismatic one because charismatic, it would be able to like talk with other team members and like enhance teamwork and all that other stuff.
Even if one guy is more qualified, even if another guy is a little bit less qualified but more charismatic, I would still pick them because then that drive helps build other people too, right? Because if people don't connect, then that's a problem.
I'm gonna tell you one thing. That's not for every job.
True.
That's not for every job. There's some
jobs.
there's some jobs. There's some jobs that like I just want that coder. Like, can you do the problem?
Like,
that's true.
if you're really
even
want people that are really good at numbers, like quant frames and all that.
And there's some companies that don't want charismatic people because they don't want you to connect so much that you're not like focused on your work. So they'll take the nerdy guy that does really good in the code and they'll put him in because they're like, I just want that done. Grind it out for me. There's some roles like that. It's rare.
Apply with like AI.
No, but for like high level software engineer, there are some people that some companies that still pick like the guy that just does it, that does the work. So there are still people like that,
Okay, so that's another like fear I'd say for most of us, like the idea of just transitioning from high school to
into the actual world,
the world.
Already it's such a because people in life science they have like 4 years.
Yeah, they have a buffer zone. We're right into the
you're right to application.
In fact, we're in like the most competitive co-op program as well. So another thing that I feel like is a bit of a fear, not as much as the other two, but just like getting good grades in general. Like I'm like going into university with the mentality that I'm not going to get like near as good as grades in high school. But like if you are not as good in university compared to the others, like because it's graded on a curve, you could be kicked out of your program because you weren't as good.
That's true.
So I don't think they do that.
They do. If you get below like a 60, I think first year you're kicked out of engineering.
Actually,
that's so good.
6 years below.
Bro,
you're adding more fears.
These 4 years are gonna be so stressful.
And I think it's graded. I don't know if it's like a good or bad thing that it's graded on the curve.
Yeah,
it depends on.
It can help some kids.
It can help some kids, but it depends on the people who are with you. So
and then
what are your fears?
So I'll go over some more like funny ones.
All right.
Like I was fearful that my roommate's like a slob.
Okay,
that's your average fear, right?
Like if I go to
that's why you gotta have a roommate with like a high school friend.
Yeah, high school friend. Yeah, hopefully, depending on where I go, right? So if my roommate's a slob and I don't know him, that's
Nathaniel sends you us here.
No. I would actually be chill with Nathaniel.
But you'll be chill, but like you'll see him.
You'll see him cooking interesting things. No, the biggest.
Which one is that? But you know what else? A lot of people don't actually think about this. I'm gonna probably get sick and tired of the meal plan. Like I live off home cooked meals.
Yeah.
Like every day I come home to my mom cooking a nice, even traditional meal. So if I'm depending on where I'm at, if I'm far from home, and I'm eating this like meal plan food, it's always on like burgers, fries.
Oh, shawarma.
That's the thing.
Like it's good, but if you only have that every day,
and that's why I'm learning cooking now.
It's like money too. Like when you're gonna go out to eat so many.
Exactly.
Have you guys ever thought about commuting to your university?
No.
That's what Mason does. He commutes to
Waterloo. You can't commute.
Unless our whole family has moved, but like my family hasn't moved to the level of your family where they can just drop everything and start a new life.
Like only child, it's easy, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, for sure.
You're an only child too. Yeah.
You know, my parents have they bought me a car because
what?
You know, because I'm going to Waterloo, right? They want me to go back every single weekend.
Yeah, that's not.
Every single weekend. I don't know how I'm gonna have the time.
I don't have to go. My parents said like,
and they were like, come back and eat food.
Because
we're gonna fatten you up.
It's not as
far. What is it? 40 minutes? 50 minutes?
40 minutes.
It's like less than an hour. Like we went for the tour and it was like really.
That's not bad at all.
So what's your second biggest fear, Michael?
My second biggest fear would be like it's more about I'm not fearful of this because I know like I can make friends, but like just the idea of like having a nice new group,
Yeah, right.
especially if I'm not
Because you want a group that's
Exactly.
like that makes you like
I want to meet people
in
that
a positive
are like
direction. Right.
Because especially now in high school, you're so limited to only 1,000 kids. Like
Yeah.
when you go to university, there's endless amount of kids.
Yeah, it's so hard to find a smart
Yeah,
group
I
like
feel like-
this.
Yeah.
Another thing, like in relation to that, is like how you're supposed to make friends in general. Because like in an environment like the one we're going to,
Yeah.
it might be so hard to actually make new friends. Like that.
Because people are so goal driven.
You know what? Besides from when you're like, when you're like so young, you're friends with anyone. Then there's that buffer phase from like grade 4 to grade like 10, where like you're kind of like
You start picking your
start
friends.
picking your friends and you're more picky. But then now I feel like we're in a mature stage where we enjoy
we'll talk
talking to anyone. So I think going into university and that, like at this age is the best age to be able to make friends, because like when
Everyone's-
you're older
yeah.
and you're like parental age.
Yeah, then you
your
become
parents
more
don't really
reserved.
They don't really make new friends.
They're more
Yeah.
reserved to
Yeah,
themselves.
they're more reserved.
Everyone's
so
more
this
reserved.
is so it's good at this stage. Like it's not really my fear at this point of meeting new people, because
It's
it's
just
gonna
like
be
a thing.
easy.
Yeah.
Like you're
Okay.
just gonna be able to.
I'll say
converse.
no. Hold on. I'll say one thing. This is a Cole's biggest fear, and it's the most valid one, I think.
Okay.
You're sharing like a room with your roommate, right? And the washroom is dirty.
Yeah.
Like
And
a
they're
dirty
not
washroom.
working.
Oh my god, bro! I saw a video.
That's like the most valid
That's
fear.
like a sweet though. When
That's
you're
a very
in
valid-
like first year residence, it's like you're using.
Oh,
the
right.
public
But if you're in a suite, yeah,
every
right.
building's different. Like you can have a room that's
Right,
a double
yeah,
bed,
exactly.
one bed, and one washroom.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
imagine your roommate's slob doesn't clean.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
underestimating
a
how, like imagine using our school washroom every day.
I would. Oh man.
Bro, using your school washroom to shower, bro. Using that school washroom to shower.
I feel like enough people have that fear to the point where you come into an agreement with your roommate about your washroom.
Yeah, you say
Yeah,
that,
it's
but
like
then
a
people
whole
do
floor.
get lazy.
Yeah, it's
a whole
it's so
floor,
floor,
not just
and
your
you're
roommate.
No.
and you're gonna get some like foot fungus from the floor,
No, that's
bro.
when some residents have communal washrooms on the whole floor that get cleaned by university staff.
Yeah.
But some
Yes.
residences
A
only
lot
have
is sweet.
a single washroom that you and your friend share. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Like in McMaster, one of the residences is 2 beds and 1 washroom.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
it. So you two have
It-
1 washroom. You're responsible to clean it. You're responsible to take care of it.
That's how I would prefer.
That's good.
Yeah.
If only if you get your roommate to also help clean, right?
Yeah, like your
Yeah.
roommate's hygiene is something
Yeah,
that
your
a lot of
roommate's
people
hygiene
like
is important, yeah.
don't think about too much until once you're in there. There are horror stories, you know,
Yeah.
of that
It could
stuff.
be bad.
Bro, I recently saw a slideshow of the communal washrooms. It wasn't like any school like we're going to where
Yeah.
we applied to, but it was like some school. Oh my god, those pictures, bro! And one of them was it was in the shower, right? And there's someone showering next to you, and their shower water was going on you. Oh my
But
god!
you know what's also different? You mentioned now that there's a shower with someone next to you.
Yeah.
A lot of them, like when I toured Mac, a lot of them are just single stalls.
Yeah, single
So one
side.
toilet, 1 shower, 1 sink. Then that gets cleaned twice a
Oh,
day.
that's quite nice.
Yeah, that I would like actually not
Like-
mind that at all.
like a bunch of washrooms together, but like they're
no, it's like a bunch of it's like here's like 10 rooms and here's like 3 washrooms here on this side of the hallway. Those washrooms are all individual.
that's kind of
Yeah,
nice.
that's kind of nice.
But like, what if it's not taken? You have to wait a little bit.
Bro,
You
one
know,
of-
with like 5 showers and 5 toilets and 5 sinks in the same washroom is kind of tough.
One of my biggest fears of university is that I'll get so cramped by my program
Yeah.
that what I'm doing that I will have no time to like do other things I'm
Yeah.
interested in.
Man,
Such as
you're
like
already cramped
perhaps
now
like this
for a point.
podcast or like maybe doing sports or anything. I'm scared like I don't have enough time to like do other stuff and I'm bound into the program. That's one of the biggest
Yeah,
fears, like,
that's-
time management.
Because right now I'm already having trouble because I'm trying to learn
Yeah.
Yeah.
learning Japanese.
Yeah.
I'm also learning data management and like Python.
Yeah, right.
I'm also learning like trying to get better at cooking, and I'm doing all these things. But, like right now I have time because it's high school.
Yeah.
But, like what if I go to university because engineering takes so much of your time, so much of your
I feel
energy.
like
Yeah.
But one thing I am excited for is like in university, there's so many like different clubs and
Yeah.
intramurals and like things you can just do for
Yeah.
other people. And that's even like joining those.
That's, like, one of
is,
your
like one
hopes.
of the best ways in that facility to make friends.
Yeah,
oh,
right,
like the
right.
sword fighting club that you mentioned a while ago.
Okay, I'm not
I
gonna
wanna
do the
go
sword
there.
fighting
A
club.
lot of things.
I wanna go to
things.
super.
I didn't see.
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
So,
But you know,
okay.
before
Yeah.
we go on,
Yeah,
like,
go keep going.
especially with the Waterloo environment, though they might say it's not as social, what you do have is a lot of like innovative individuals and also like driven individuals.
Yeah.
Because every kid who's going there had to have been driven and dedicated in high school and also have projects like you said. So if you can meet with these people, it builds a good network.
And people say it's not social. They don't understand.
Yeah.
It's probably social. It's just a
Social,
different
yeah.
way of social.
Yeah, way of social.
It's like
yeah.
their social.
It's not part
Their
of school,
social
that's
is
what
like
it is.
their social is
Yeah.
this. We get together. We hang out by studying. That's their social.
Yeah.
That's Waterloo social.
Yeah.
Whereas a typical uni social is we go and party,
Well, like-
smoke the
Well,
weed.
like Laurier is right next to
Laurier is
us.
right next to us.
Yeah, just go Laurier.
Yeah, exactly. If you meet some friends from Laurier, like,
Yeah.
You're fine.
you have the best time at the same time as everyone else.
So I want to ask you guys something about like studying, because like we're like a group of like our grades are pretty good in high school, right?
100
I wanna
average,
kinda-
100 average.
I want to kind of pick like I want to see like how each of you guys study. So
Okay.
don't give me any like random answers. Like I don't study. Like I know you study. Tell me like your method.
Okay.
Who wants to go first? Should I go
Depends
first?
on the subject. What subject are we talking about here?
Any subject, overall
Physics,
studying.
math.
Oh, physics.
Everyone does-
Physics
everyone does
one
math.
day before the test. That's what I do.
Actually,
Yeah.
Actually,
I'll
Yeah,
go
on God. That's
but what about those cue cards I saw on your bed?
Oh, those were from like. Do you know why I do those? It's like when I learn something, I write it down, right? And then I put it in like this box, right? It's like 1 day, 3 days, and I look at it. If it's in the 1 day box, I look at it the next day. If I remember it, I put it in the next.
Bro,
box.
what is this strategy?
This is what I'm telling you about. That's what this is gatekeeping.
That's
gatekeeping.
actually so smart, bro.
That's what I did last semester, and I locked it. But like this semester, I got too lazy, so I'm not. This semester, math I did the day before. I only did the day before. I don't do any of the homework.
Really?
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah, actually, for calc, I actually do that.
What about you two?
Because calc is really easy for me.
So for different subjects, I kind of vary, but I'll start with like calculus. So right now in calculus, what I do is I sort of just like look if I'm feeling lazy on the day of we do a lesson. I normally don't actually do the homework that day because I'm very lazy, you know? Especially now because it's like school is pretty much over. So I push myself to at least just review the lesson, so I at least know the topic. So if I was to get homework, like do homework, I'll be able to do
Right,
it.
you review
I
the
review the
topic
lesson
a lot.
every
That's
day.
smart.
Yeah,
That's
that's
how I do it. So
That's what I
and
usually
then,
do for bio.
when it's close to the test time, I just do the homework, and then after like I do all the homework, I just like review the lesson one last time. It's probably like the day before the test, and I just do the test. So when it comes to like a subject like physics, for example, that one I felt like I had to work more hard in.
Yeah.
Just because.
Me too.
Yeah. Okay.
It just didn't click as much.
Yeah, just didn't click as
But
much.
it's
And it's also less.
harder to
Some
get.
topics you have to like memorize. Like for example, like light, we have to read the textbook. So
That one was
when it
confusing.
comes to that, like reading the textbook, I would read the textbook and then I would like make little like a sheet of like notes, like the important parts,
Oh,
and I would just
smart.
like review that. So I'm not gonna go back to the textbook and try to read everything over again when I'm trying to memorize it. So I just like first time I read it, I just like wrote.
Oh,
everything
I did that too. At that one point, I just write down
and then
everything I need to.
Besides that, in physics, like I just do the same thing as like any other subject. I just do the homework and like review the lessons, like what we did in the class, like the notes from that. And,
I study math like I get home that one lesson, and then I'll do the homework that
I do
day.
the exact same.
You do the same
I was
as me.
gonna say I come home, I do the whatever lesson we did in class. If there's assigned homework, I do it the same day.
Well, you look here wasting your time because you're gonna forget them before the
only
test.
No,
problem is
that's what I was
it's
thinking
so
at
hard, then you
first,
ask
but I feel
questions,
like-
you have questions from the teacher.
Yeah, you
so
have
it's
questions
easier.
for the teacher. and you kind of
I've never asked if it's going to a single
Yeah, see,
question.
whenever
Well, bro,
I'm
you
doing
just-
something-
I don't know.
Because what I find is compared to what they teach in class, like let's say the exact lesson, the examples that are used,
So the
it's
questions
about 70 or 60%
are the
same
same.
as the textbook
Yeah.
and as the textbook homework.
Yeah.
Especially in chemistry, it was always different. So every time, like, or not always, but like chemistry, I found the
I was
homework
thinking
was
only the multiple choice was like the thinking part of calculus.
Yeah, the thinking part of
The like actual calculations.
But
was
then
pretty
sometimes
much-
the calculations would have like words that he wouldn't use in class, and it would kind of throw you off. But then when you ask him, he would show you his way to learn it.
Yeah.
Then it would click right away.
Yeah, it's another thing I didn't mention, but like if I'm like really lost on the topic, I'll just watch like videos.
Yeah.
Like
Right,
I'll just watch
yeah.
YouTube videos on
Organic
videos help
chemistry
a lot.
tutor.
Like,
Kong.
yeah,
Chemistry
Yeah.
helped most for me. With
Yes.
Yeah, chemistry I definitely
so
watch the most videos
Yeah.
out of any of them. Because like chemistry is like really hard to like visualize in your head, like the equilibrium.
Yeah, you can't.
I did chemistry so like I grinded it so
Yeah.
much. Like I remember I was I did chemistry like midterms back like way back when there was Christmas break. I did final exam prep back then.
Yeah,
I was like really ahead, but then I realized I forgot some stuff. But it still helps because you have that base kind of knowledge just in your head, just subconsciously lying there.
What really helped me in chem last semester, like
you excelled. bro.
yeah, I got really good. I think I got like my highest grade was 102% on the equilibrium
Hey,
test.
bro, no flexing here, bro.
No flexing. Just say what you did. What was
Okay.
your study method?
Last semester for chemistry, as soon as I learn something right, I get home.
Yeah.
I write it down. Like, I have like small pieces of paper. I write it down, right? It's like, and it's not like I don't write down everything. I write down like few words about it, and then I have 3 boxes. One box is for 1 day, another box for 3 days, and another box for 5 days. And I put it when I just learned it. I put it in the first box, right? But before putting it in the first box, since I just wrote it down, right? I looked at it based on a few words. I have to tell myself like everything about it. I think about it really hard. I know like, and I relate it to like other things we've learned, and it just makes me memorize everything so quickly.
Yeah.
And then I put it back in the box, right? Tomorrow I get it. If I correctly memorize it, I move to the next box.
Oh, you move it to the 3-day box.
And if I only go back.
I studied the day.
So
That was only for.
It was good for theory.
But for math and physics last year, I didn't do that.
So when you get to the 5-day box, you understand it completely and you memorize it completely, right?
Well, I've already memorized it on like the first day. I just the 3 days to make sure.
Yeah.
But
Where did you get the strategy from?
Oh, in China.
In China?
And in math and physics, I don't really do that because like you gotta write.
Okay, hold on.
problems and stuff.
Before you came into grade 12 physics, what did you do in China?
Oh, in China,
What tutoring did you do, bro? I know you did some
Yeah,
sort of
you did
tutoring.
not.
In China,
You came in and you
No,
were just
in China-
like in a different mode, bro.
I
know you did
was doing
something.
like 6 hours of Valorant a day. That's what I was doing.
No.
You came in grade 11 with 0 100, then you became like
Yeah, grade 12 you got way better. Even Mr.
Like, what did you do?
mentioning it. He's like,
In
hey,
China, I know you did math.
Well, I played
Oh, we
Valorant.
know you did some tutoring.
No,
about
actually-
things.
I did-
Don't even gatekeep,
I'm
man.
glad-
Tell us your boxes. What was the
I'm
circles and
glad I
stuff?
did it.
It was
Like,
a bowl.
Where you got
In
that
China,
box?
I did nothing except play Valorant, and I hang out with like my friends. So I actually did nothing.
You did no physics, no math.
Nothing. I did nothing.
His brain just grew bigger, bro.
Like actually,
But you know what's one thing you never really have to
well,
mention?
the only thing I did was like, I looked at Chinese TikToks, right? Chinese TikToks. That was where I got the method from.
Bro, one thing we didn't mention is how us talking about the lesson after it's done and just talking about the class in general also helps us remember stuff.
Right.
Because before we wouldn't really care about stuff, grade 9, 10, whatever. Then when we learn a lesson, we'll be like, okay, what is this? Like, so most of the time we goof off.
Yeah, we always talk after the test to discuss.
Yeah, and then we shift to the text. We always, but then that's after the fact. So it doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
And then Nathaniel's always like, no, stop.
That's like
But
me
like,
right now.
in Miss Camacho's class, we would do the multiple choice right after.
Right. I really like how
Just
Ms.
to boost
Camacho
us.
does the. Everyone has to prepare. I think.
Everyone's prepared.
I love that. And every
test
year,
review for every unit, each group does a different one.
yeah. So like you have to really learn the unit that you're doing.
that's kinda
That's
like
a
good.
great method.
And that is
And I say like Mr. Koteman's assignment for physics was
Yeah.
like the
Oh,
best. That was the best method I've ever came across.
Any teacher.
Yes.
That guarantees you to not like at least do okay on the
Yeah,
test, you know
because
for
he's
the most
forcing
part.
you to do the homework.
Yeah.
very
And
much.
it's like
And it's 3 marks, so you want to
you're
do it.
motivated to
Yeah.
do it.
Right. That's why
Saves your
it's
grade,
yeah.
bro.
That's why for physics, I basically only studied the assignment until the only unit where I did homework where he's like, I will be pulling the test questions from the homework.
The saddest part is when the assignment is easier than the
Yeah.
test question.
Yeah. The test questions they always make it some sort of thinking thing.
Yeah.
And then I only study the assignment.
Okay, so when we go into our like majors, right?
Mhm.
Do you think your study method is gonna change?
Yeah.
No.
I'll go ahead first.
Obviously, it's gonna change. I do it the day before the test, bro.
I'm gonna say
You're not doing it.
for whoever
For physics and math, I
Okay,
literally
yeah.
do it.
for whoever is still out there doing it the day before, if you're going into a hard program, that is not gonna work. for
Yeah,
you.
it's not gonna work.
not
I don't have to
gonna-
do the box method for everything, bro.
And a lot of people, bro, like everybody tells me, Angus, I need to stay up all night to study and stuff. No,
Oh,
you
yeah.
don't. No, you forced yourself into that situation.
Yeah, I feel like
Unless
That's
you're
what
working,
Nathaniel does
unless
every
you're
single
working
time,
like,
bro.
unless you're working a job like every single day, like very long shifts after
Yeah.
school, like you're working really hard. You're not doing.
This is what happened last
You're wasting
semester.
your
All
time.
night is so bad
Yeah.
when you're writing.
Yeah,
your
it
test.
cooks you, bro.
Have you
This is
ever
what
done
happened
it?
last semester. I realized that
It cooks you.
because usually when I start studying really late and I go on my phone a lot, right?
Yeah.
It makes I study until like 5 or 3 or 4, like 4 a.m. And then I go to sleep before every single test.
When was this last year?
Yeah, last semester and a little bit of this semester.
Talking about
Like I did
test.
I did that every single time because if I study the different tests, obviously I have to do all those questions. It takes me like 4 a.m. if I look at my phone. So I was so tired on the day of every single test.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
how
you know, I
people do
still
that.
got 100
Have you ever, yeah, bro? Yeah, it works for now. It's like a short-term
Yeah,
thing.
but
the
then
future is
you know,
not working.
I started sleeping a little earlier, right? So that means I have more energy during the day, and I stopped using my phone as much. I can fit all that studying.
Yeah,
that was
right.
Over like
Bro, you
15
know
hours.
what?
I can fit it into like 5 hours, 6 hours, and I'm done by like 9 or 10, and I get to go
Like
sleep.
even our current notes are probably going to help next year. A lot of stuff I mean, I'm sure a lot of stuff is very
Chemistry,
similar.
I looked at the units.
Chemistry,
very similar.
100%.
I really need
Chemistry
to
1
get
is all the same. We already did it all.
Yeah.
Calc 1, pretty much.
Yeah.
No, for me,
Yeah, we did,
apparently we're
yeah.
doing proofs and stuff.
Proofs is
Oh,
all
for math,
I'm
for
not
math.
going to have proofs, but
Yeah.
you guys are going to have proofs.
Yeah. So I feel like the study strategy for a lot of people when they do it like the last day
Pretty
off.
much just doing the homework is
Pretty
like the
much-
simplest
yeah.
thing, I guess.
Yeah, literally, that's what they say. Is that's what you do. I guess.
Like-
Bro, if you befriend the teacher's
Yeah.
assistant,
Impossible. Give up on that dream. Oh yeah, this is the next question. Actually, rolling into that. How do you plan to reach out for help if you're
Yeah,
struggling in
it's
university?
so
Do you want to go first,
I'll go
Michael?
first.
You haven't spoken much.
So I would say the most is you need to make friends in your program.
Yeah, that's true.
Like the second you sit down in your lecture or whatever is happening,
Yeah, I'll talk
try
to the people.
talk to everyone around you. Be like, oh, where school are you from for this, and that, because you need resources or else you're cooked.
Yeah, and I'll be like, I have your Instagram.
Yeah, I'm Instagram, whatever. Get my. But
What,
then-
what about like the teacher
Okay,
tutors? and stuff?
I would say trying to get the professor's help directly is probably impossible.
Right.
Like, I'm sure after lectures, so many kids.
That's where you get the
try and
teacher
add
assistants.
that.
You gotta have a good relationship
You gotta
with teachers.
No, that's where you get the teacher
So then,
assistants.
so then if there's teachers assistants, yeah, and the hardest thing about teacher assistants is you need to make friends with them because they're most of the time the ones marking your stuff.
Yeah.
So if you're in good, even though it's probably hard for you to be in good relation with them, but if you're in good relation with them, or at least have them on their good side, helps you get better grades because they mark hard.
What about tutor programs? A lot of universities do offer that if you're struggling in class. Have you ever thought about
I
that?
don't think I would ever do a university
know,
program.
I feel like you could even use AI now.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
AI,
AI,
itself
yeah,
is
yeah.
actually like really useful.
And also, a lot of lectures in university are all online now.
Yes, you're
so
right.
like you can just look at it after class.
And there's a lot of more YouTube tutorials, way more in clarity,
It's way
maybe.
more, because all the curriculums are more specific laid out. So it's like, you know what I mean?
Have you guys seen those videos where they record like the lectures and they upload it in AI, bro, and they can ask every
Yeah.
question? Look, that's looking really good.
I like this question here. Are grades going to be more or less important to you once you're in university? Can I start first?
yeah.
Wait,
Can I start first?
Can I say something?
I'm gonna say less important.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say less important.
You know,
Because
let
in
me-
engineering, you just need to get your
let
degree.
me add on to
No, it's what they hire you based on. I talked to a girl that just got her first co-op in software engineering. Her grades were good, not bad, but they were not great. But she had a lot of projects, and she got hired to Spotify. She got rejected in the Waterloo portal by all her co-ops because her grades weren't like enough. So the projects is what drove her. So I feel like grades might matter less in university, and it's more about like the project.
It's
And
a
once
lot
you get the
program-based
degree,
too. Oh, yeah.
once you get the degree, right? What separates you is not really like 90% to a 92 to a 96.
You know what's the sad part?
It's the projects.
It's also connection. Like if you have a friend
Yeah.
in a company, and then I'm also
Or your parents.
also or your parents, but also because I'm going into like science medical.
Yeah,
So my grade in fourth year matters, like
yeah.
especially for med school. But then also like if I have a relative who's a doctor at this hospital and well known by a school,
Yeah.
that obviously boosts it.
Yeah.
And then also if you have internships at a medical clinic or at a hospital or something, that's all plays a
Yeah.
part. So I guess grades you could say are probably a bit less.
Yeah, it's way less, I
Yeah.
would say, than high school.
Based on what you do, you have to make free.
Yeah, because in high school, your grades is what determines you for
Pretty much,
programs.
because pretty much there's no like
There's nothing
there's
else.
not much proofing or backing of schools when they see your extracurriculars.
Yeah.
There's proofing, of course, like references, whatever. But it's also like it's grades.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
grades is what.
It's
So
grades.
what do you think, Tarun? You have a different idea to this?
I was gonna say less. Like obviously it's
Yeah.
less,
Okay,
but I think my mentality it's gonna be very hard to change from what it is right now.
Oh right,
So,
you're stuck in like the
I'm
grades
saying
matter.
to
The grades
myself,
matter.
Yeah, of course. Like
I switched instantly.
No, I'm 100% still on that. Like I thought.
Yeah,
after,
why?
I thought after midterms I was gonna turn off.
Yeah.
Why?
But then bio,
Yeah, I told myself that too, but I'm still.
math test. I was still stressing before that.
Why?
I was like, why am I stressed? Like,
Yeah.
shit, I'm
Why?
stressed.
Why?
I guess it's
I
more
think
just-
I think maybe the day you accept your offer, you feel relaxed. Because
Maybe.
that's when my
Maybe
grades
it's
started
more
dropping.
like-
When my mom
maybe it's
was
more
accepting
like,
offer,
like I want to finish this
Yeah.
high school with high grades.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
care.
I wanna-
Basically,
okay, I wanna
no,
try to get
you know
a
what
job.
I want to do?
Yeah.
I was like, the next
wait,
4
let me
years
get
is gonna
100
be
English.
such a grind.
Yeah.
The next
Sorry.
4 years is gonna be such a
Yeah.
grind. I want to have this last tiny bit of high school, like back in New Zealand, like with the
For
kids.
summer, I'm gonna be so free. Like,
Yeah, I want to.
So
I don't know
free.
why you guys are still so hung up on the grades. Like,
well,
is your
I have
mentality-
to do it. I have
No,
to.
you've
have to.
accepted your Waterloo
Why?
offer.
No, because if my US thing
US
goes through, I can't
Oh,
go to
right.
Waterloo, and I go to US, and then they will have, and I have to take a gap year, and they're gonna look
And
at
you
my end of the year.
SATs
Why don't
and
you do
everything.
Waterloo for a year and then switch to the US?
I told my dad about that, but he was like,
No, he was iffy
Yeah.
about it. No.
Hmm.
So like, yeah, I feel like the mentality change is also something important because like when we're like going somewhere, it's like dynamic, right? Things
Yeah.
changes so
Yeah,
fast. You
and-
have to be able to keep up with like the
Well,
different
And
environments.
in Waterloo, we're in already a competitive environment. So just like say, oh, I'm gonna transition into like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna care much. It's kind of like it's kind of like a hard thing to do. Like even now in
Yeah,
high
I see what
school,
you mean.
us changing into like more AP classes has like all helped us like
Yeah.
become like smarter.
I feel like
more,
you should still pay attention to your grades.
Yeah, for
But,
sure.
like,
But don't
you need to
don't
make
have it as
more
a
free
sole.
time. You need
So
to make
focused.
you need to make free time.
Yeah, exactly.
Because for
Because
engineering,
you need to build projects.
engineering, you like your experience is what matters.
Yeah.
And you have to get your degree as well, so you
Yeah,
have
the
to pass.
projects,
And
yeah.
you gotta have
You gotta
experience.
do projects.
Don't. Yeah. The thing is
Yeah.
with that, like, don't
yeah,
don't be
that's
hung
why
up
good
about the
connections
grades.
is so important because
Yeah.
doing a project on your own versus with a friend
With
is
friends.
so much.
Yeah.
So much more fun,
Yeah.
and it's
Well,
more
imagine you
doable.
have
Let's make a Python project, guys.
Bro, imagine you have a friend who's like, oh yeah, I work at Google, Apple, and these big companies.
Yeah, and they can recommend
Hook
you.
you up with a co-op.
Yeah,
like
right.
that's half of the battle.
Yeah.
And how do you even meet these people? Right? Like, what?
Sometimes you can just meet them by chance.
chance.
If you're lucky.
Yeah.
Because I know someone who met like it was this like place I went to. It was in I don't remember correctly, but it was like this international student thing.
Oh yeah,
And
international
then I
student
went-
committee you went
Yeah,
to. that
it
you
was,
talked to me
and then there was like so many people there. And then do you know who I met? There was school board directors, all of that. Like
Yeah, he met all the Houghton school board directors.
no, it was like the entire country. The school board directors was there.
Yeah, because
Yeah, it was
because
a national student.
he's an
panel.
international student, so they invited him to have to speak about things that like they might need to
when
know.
was this?
It was last year.
It was last year.
Yeah.
That was in his resume too that people didn't know
Was
of.
that? Oh,
So
that's
his
actually-
resume is pretty
it was a national level event.
Right. It was
Yeah,
a
the
national
whole
that he was
Canada.
invited to.
That's
Right.
good. That is good.
Yeah.
And do you know what they said? They're like, "Oh, you're very extroverted and very talkative for
Right, exactly.
international students."
Oh,
That's
that's
a-
good.
oh, yeah, that's a
like,
great thing.
Oh, your English is so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I told them about like my activities. They were like, "Oh, you do so much outside of school. How do you balance that time?"
Oh,
Ooh, I want to ask you guys something about this. What has been your favorite memory from high school?
Oh, that's so deep.
That's a deep and hard
You need like
question.
a week to think about
Yeah.
that.
Really?
I have no good memories.
Not a single
My
one.
entire school year life.
No one here has a good memory of high
Maybe,
school.
maybe making the basketball team in grade 9.
Making the bath. That was your
That
favorite
might be
memory?
my best.
Oh,
One of my
wait.
best.
Well, bro, you know
Oh,
what?
yeah, one of mine will be
you know what
winning the
would've been the
tennis.
best,
Yeah,
Right,
seeing-
that
If
was-
grade 10 football, we actually won the finals, but we got second place. Remember?
Oh yeah,
Were
right.
you on
right.
the team?
Yeah, on the team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like low key, it might have been just like a debate tournament win. Because like that's
Yeah,
really
that was
exciting.
cool.
Oh.
I don't really.
Oh yeah, this is an
Remember.
interesting question. Like I asked you this, I want to ask them.
Hmm.
If you could redo one thing from high school, what would it be?
Not apply for mechanical engineering, apply for mechatronics or software.
No, in school. In
Okay,
school.
In high school.
I'll answer first. It was kind of like a cliche answer, but I feel like I should have joined more clubs. You know?
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like I didn't really want to do sports in the high school.
Yeah.
Like I tried out basketball grade 9. I think I was like not even like passionate though. Like I never was like really like oh here get the ball. and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
So I was like I think I was like cut the second cut. I was the cut. But yeah, I feel like I was like more in that mentality like oh if I'm doing a sport in high school it's kind of a waste
Yeah.
of time because
Oh,
like
yeah.
I'm not gonna pursue the sport.
Yeah.
I wish, bro.
So I was like, but I should have realized more that like clubs is literally such an easy way to make friends with so many different people.
Right.
So,
Clubs,
yeah.
sports, video games.
For me, I
Those are the
wish.
three. Video games is also a really big one.
Oh yeah.
I didn't play much video games.
For me,
Yeah.
you know, because in grade 9, when we were before grade 9, like grade 8, when we came to Canada, we were in Canada, right? And then we go back. Then COVID, it was like in the middle of COVID, but then COVID got worse, so we couldn't come back anymore. And then
Yeah,
that's
because he
why I
was
had to
going to
do
be on the
online
basketball
school.
team.
I had to do online school from like it was from 8 p.m. when I woke up and I hopped on a Zoom call and it was all the way to like 3 a.m. and I stayed up until like 5 a.m. and I went to sleep and I wake up like 6 p.m. bro.
Oh, 6 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, when did you eat, bro?
Yeah, I had to live my life the opposite way because I was doing online school. Yes, and then when we came back, I did that for the whole first quarter semester. So I did that for like 2 months, and then messed up my
Wait,
C6 later so bad.
semester, what did you have in grade 9?
I had like tech, like the you know the tech class where we like made like cars and the mousetrap cars and stuff.
Oh,
Oh, Mr. Palermo.
Yeah, I was in that class and religion.
Mr. Robert?
I was in that class and religion class, bro.
Oh, religion class. Who's your teacher?
If you vibe with this combo, drop a like, leave a comment, and hit that sub button. We'll catch you next time on Different Walks, Different Talks.